The Justice Department is charging two alleged leaders of a white supremacist group with a host of federal crimes, including solicitation, the killing of a federal officer, doxing federal officials, and making interstate threats. Now, according to this indictment, Dallas Humbert and Matthew Allison are leaders of this group that goes by the name terrorgram. Now, officials say that they wanted to ignite a race war in the United States and incite followers to carry out terror attacks around the world. ABC Justice Department reporter Alex Mallon is joining me for more on this. Alex, thank you for being here. So first of all, what more are we learning about this group, again, the name terrorgram, and why is its alleged leaders here being indicted? What more can you tell us?
Yeah, I think one of the more fascinating things about this indictment, Kana, is that this group, Terrorgram, is charged as a multinational terrorist group, but it's basically fully functioning online on the social media app Telegram. But it's able to function essentially in the shadows. This kind of lays out in real detail this about 37-page indictment about how this group essentially promoted things like attacks on critical energy facilities, things like assassinations of high-profile U.S. politicians, including an unnamed U.S. senator. And it just didn't limit itself to words. That in certain instances, this actually resulted in 3 separate attacks or attempted attack both in the U.S. and abroad, Kana.
3 separate attacks. And how is the DOJ saying that these suspects allegedly communicated here? On Telegram?
Yeah, Telegram is essentially a social media app, and the ways that they communicated were essentially they would take in manifestos from high-profile racist mass shooters, things like the Buffalo Top shooter, the shooter at the El Paso Walmart, all motivated by this goal of creating a white ethno-state in the U.S. And they'd post it. They'd share tips on how to carry out follow-up attacks. They, in certain instances, would post, high-profile targets, or certain, there would be people who would say, I'm debating going through this attack, and members of the group would cheer them on. Again, we've seen these terrorist networks operate overseas in certain instances, out of bases or something like that. This entirely existed online. And again, it had a global impact. There was one case in Turkey where an individual who was involved with the group stabbed 5 people outside of a mosque and live streamed it. Another instance in Slovakia where a man who was involved with the group killed 2 people outside an LGBTQ bar and then took his own life. But before he took his own life, he sent his manifesto to this Telegram group, Terrorgram. So again, it's just really putting on full display this kind of unheard of now transnational terrorist group that they indicted the 2 leaders of, again, one living in California and one living in Idaho. Kana?
California and Idaho. And if you could just quickly, I know you talked a little bit about some of these crimes that they're alleged to have done, but what more do we know about this reach that they have really overseas, and how is that being conducted online?
Yeah, I think that what they really wanted to attract is this idea of white ethno-states propping up all around the world. White supremacy is obviously one of the oldest forms in the entire world of hate, anti-Semitic hate as well. It stretched into not just anti-LGBT, anti-Semitic, anti-black. It is really, and if you watch how this group kind of communicates in this indictment, it's really despicable form of an old evil in this world. But the goal, again, this accelerationist type of goal, is to create so much conflict that they believe will incite race wars, and a really perverted kind of idea of propping up white ethno-states, Kana.
Wow, Alex Mallon, thank you for being here with us today. We appreciate you as always.